So this is tape number 1. We will have several of these.
Well, hi, I'm Lee Nam Chow.
Nice
It
to
is
see
so
you.
good to meet you for the first time. I appreciate you having this meeting with me.
You bet, you bet.
If it's okay with you, I would like just to start and share my side of the story, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
That's
okay?
fine.
Great. You may not know my background, but I was born in the country of Cambodia. I was born there it's a third world country. It's a country that was torn apart by war. And it was in fact so violent that my parents and I, well, not my parents sent me away when I was 4 years old. When I was 4 years old, I faced life and death situations. And part of that involved multiple choice testing. And the people who were in control of my country at that time used that as psychological torture on me during this time. And I never thought that that would influence me as a person, but I feel like as an adult, those past experiences are really influencing my academic achievement. I know that I'm here as a diversity student, and that means a lot to me, and I'm thankful for the University of Austin to really want to help me in that way. I'm thankful that the University of Austin really cares about diversity and really cares about helping the citizens of the world. And that's why I wanted to come. I wanted to come and get my medical degree so that I can go back to Cambodia and help the people in my country. So I want to be successful. I know that you want me to be successful, especially as a diversity candidate, but I feel like I don't have the accommodation set in place for me to be successful. And I just wanted to talk about that.
Okay. I'd love to hear what the accommodations are that you've had to date.
Mm-hmm. So the accommodations that I've had were after my first year, I was able to, well, first of all, I was able to do my first year all over again. And I was given the assistance of counselors, tutors, note takers, and taped lectures.
Can you say this again?
Right. Counseling,
Mm-hmm.
tutoring,
Mm-hmm.
note taking,
Mm-hmm.
and taped lectures.
Mm-hmm.
But what stayed the same year to both years was that I still had to take a multiple choice exam. And the thing is, last summer, when I was tested and evaluated by the psychiatrists and psychologists at Austin Medical School, they discovered that that was the main source of my freezing up in testing. It had everything to do with the format of the testing, that it was multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
I know this information very well, and I feel like I could answer this information and I could be accountable for this information, and I could prove to you that I know it if I had a different form of testing.
What do you know, Lee, about the medical boards that we're preparing you for?
I do know that the American medical boards are multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand from where you're sitting, you could say, well, sure, we can make an accommodation, but if the board isn't going to make an accommodation, why should we?
Mm-hmm.
But my end goal is to go back to my home country of Cambodia to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to do that, I don't necessarily have to pass the American Medical Board. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I understand that reasoning, but I don't think that should be a factor, because I'm not planning to stay in America. I'm not planning to work at a hospital here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need the American board approval.
Right. And yet I suspect you see some of our quandary that what we purport to do is to prepare people for being doctors, and doing that by the typical means of taking the American medical boards.
Mm-hmm.
And that to have felt like we have done our job, which is our history here, we need to have gotten in through that, over that hurdle, and certainly yours is an incredibly dramatic story, and has, for all reasons, gotten our sympathies. And we have this, I would say it's a common enemy that we have, and I would hate for it to feel like it's us against you or you against us.
Right.
It's more us together against this exam. I think it's worth, I don't want to be condescending, but I think it's worth understanding why the medical association would have the boards the way they do. I don't think it's just capricious that they've decided they like multiple choice because it's easy to grade or some such thing. The way they talk about it to us and the way we've always understood it is this is what being a doctor is all about. That there are these snap judgments that you have to make, and literally in your head it's a multiple choice test. You know, that I have 4 diagnoses I could make right here when this person's coming in and bleeding from the neck, and I don't know what it is, and I have to quickly make that decision. And I think they would make the argument that they have to test that way so that the people they produce and now give this official license to are ones who can make those decisions. And they would have to say, if you can't do those kind of decisions, not that you don't have lots to give the medical world, what you don't have to give them is the ability to make the snap judgments. So there are other means to use your medical knowledge. And I don't know exactly what your home country would do. But I think about the fact that we have options here that don't end up in an MD, but end up elsewhere. For instance, a PhD doesn't require the same sort of multiple choice testing, doesn't have the same sort of boards on it, is an internal review. We get to determine what a degree looks like. And I wonder if that would translate at all into your home country, that you would be allowed to still take the boards there, but you wouldn't have come from us with an MD certification, as it were, the pre-MD certification, but rather would come from us with something that says you're qualified, certainly you know the material, and that when given the right circumstances to produce it, you can do it, but not claiming that you would be the right person to make the quick judgment under American standards right then, under pressure. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So I think I really want to get back to the notion of being shoulder to shoulder with you and looking at the common enemy out here, enemy of that test, and maybe not trying to bash through that test, but go around it.
Sure.
Some way or another. So
could we speak more about that?
Yeah. So I'm assuming these are standard operating things. I'm off of my directions here.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe that will truly be too much of I'm still trying to get you a medical degree.
Right.
Just not take the American medical test.
Right.
So the door you opened it to me, Lee, was when you said that you don't have to take this test. And that opens up in my mind the notion of a different means to getting you licensed. You wouldn't get licensed here.
Right.
We wouldn't be calling you putting you in the same box, checking you off as having been a degree recipient towards an MD. We would be able to put you in another category. So I don't know much more about that, except that that's strikes me as something that addresses the issue of your multiple choice, legitimate, and I understand it, issue, but I understand also the medical boards wanting to maintain integrity and also keep their focus on that sort of spontaneous decision making. So
because
I would beat that.
Right, and I would absolutely love to stay at the University of Austin. I know that I was dismissed from the medical school, but if there's any chance that I could come back to the medical school and have this alternate type of degree, that's not an MD, but that is something else that would enable me to go back to my home country, that's definitely something I'm interested in.
So the question then becomes, and this is where you need to give me just your facts. Otherwise, other than multiple choice tests, I don't have your transcript in front of me. You've done fine, right?
Absolutely.
You passed. You pass everything.
Right.
Until it comes to a multiple choice cumulative sort of exam.
Right.
So I feel more comfortable arranging in our PhD program that doesn't have the same